Hey guys, thought I'd just do a quick weekend update just to show you what I've been up to in the last week. So I acquired from a friend one of these Simder multi-process welders, and it's an SD 4050 Pro, and there's quite a few videos out on these. And I've been teaching myself TIG welding, which I'm making improvements, but I got a ways to go. So my first project was, where am I going to put this thing? I really don't have room for a traditional welding cart, so I thought I would turn my Millermatic 200 into a welding cart. So let's take a look around it and I'll show you what I've modified. The first thing I did was relocate this cable hanger. Normally it goes right in the middle, right about where that logo is. I had to move it because I wanted to make a little platform to set the new welder on. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward. I was actually able to use one of the original mounting holes for the front handle and just added a couple of sheet metal screws. When I did this, I took the cover off the welder, made sure that everything was clear inside, and I actually put in some cardboard down inside the machine so that when I drilled these holes, metal chips wouldn't get into any of the critical components. And then I added one more drilled and tapped hole here because I had to shorten this handle up. Okay, and then I just used a piece of sheet metal plate, I think it's 16 gauge, and just made a little platform for the new welder to sit on. These Millermatics, they originally were set up for a single tank in the back here, and I modified it to hold 2 tanks, and there was quite a bit involved in doing that. I had to space these wheels out a little bit. I don't know if you can see, I put some spacers in, just big washers behind the wheels, just to move the wheels out a little bit. Okay, and then I notched out the sides of the platform, which of course weakened the platform. So I welded angle iron underneath the bottom to strengthen it up again. So I'm just able to squeeze 2 tanks on here. This one is CO2 and that one's argon. At some point I'll probably go to C25, but I've got lots of CO2 to use up. And then I've just got some old regulators. I might upgrade these at some point, but I mean, they're working for now. And I had to make a new attachment bracket for the top to hold the 2 tanks. That was probably the most difficult part of everything, just trying to figure out, you know, spacing and so forth. So made that modification, and I think I can also upgrade these tanks to taller tanks. I think the diameters are the same, so I kind of kept that in mind while I was doing this. Probably one of the biggest hurdles or challenges that I had to deal with was I had to leave this area clear, because in order to open the service door to get to your wire feed and your rollers, you need to leave that area clear on top. Yeah, originally I thought, oh man, this will be easy. I can just cut this this lifting eye off, and just the welder will just sit there. And then I go, oh wait a minute, I gotta be able to open that door. So that's the reason that's offset like it is. So what I worked on today was redoing all the gas tubing here in the back of the machine. And let's cut away for a second. I'll show you what this looked like before my improvements today. Let's go take a look at that. Okay, well I think this looks better doing it this way. Alright, so one of the first issues I had is with this tubing that came with the machine. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. the fit between the barb fittings that were provided and that are on the machine, it's okay. And they give you these, you know, traditional rack style hose clamps. The trouble with these, especially on small diameters, is they don't tighten up evenly. You'll get about 3/4 of the tube will be tight, and then it'll leave a loose spot at the top where the mechanism is. So what you end up having to do is double clamping everything and alternate your clamps, and that gets messy. So I wanted to put better tubing on, so that was my first, I'm going to call it a convenience upgrade that I did. The other thing is I bought this manifold because I think this is pretty typical on these multi-process machines. You've got a dedicated, and I don't have it hooked up right now, but you've got a dedicated gas inlet for MIG, but then you got a combination inlet for plasma cutting and for TIG. So, and then, you know, plasma, you use compressed air. TIG, it's going to be in most cases argon. And so you got to switch your hoses all the time. So I bought this little manifold just on Amazon, and what this is it's a beer brewing manifold for you know, for running CO2 if you have multiple kegs or what have you. This thing was like $12 with the valves and everything. I mean, there's no way you can make it for that. But one thing you got to bear in mind, these have check valves inside the ball valves, and you have to remove that little check valve. I found out the hard way that they were in there, but you can remove them. You have to unscrew the valve, and then you can get in there and pop out the little retainer and take the check valve mechanism out, and then it's just a regular ball valve. Yeah, so I did that, and that's working really good. And of course, the tubing was an issue, so I found this is actually pneumatic rated tubing. It's rated for 145 pounds of pressure. Yeah, I grabbed a piece. Yeah, so this is actually pneumatic tubing, and like I said, it's rated for 145 pounds of pressure. It fits real tight on your barb fittings, and you don't even need clamps. I put one clamp on this one because it's kind of a short barb fitting, but man, they fit tight. It is really kind of stiff, and I had to heat it up with a heat gun to get the tubing to slide on, and also to help shape it the way I wanted it. The other thing I did was replace the pressure regulator, and there's nothing wrong with the one that comes with it. I mean, it's, you know, it's plenty adequate for what it's doing. The issue I ran into is the way it comes configured. This side is the inlet and this side is the outlet. So I wanted the inlet over here on this side. So I figured, oh, no big deal. You got another port in the back. You can just switch the gauge to the front and everything will reconfigure the other way around. I don't know what they did to this fitting, if they've glued it in or whatever, but I tried everything to get that out of there, and it was going to break. So I figured, you know what, these things don't cost much. I'll just buy another one. I'll use this on something else. So I bought another one. I think this was like 16 bucks on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description of all these components. Yeah, so this was 16 bucks on Amazon, and the same thing, I had to reconfigure it. I had to move the gauge to the front, no big deal. And what I did, instead of putting an air hose on here, I just put a quick coupler. So now I don't have a hose hanging out. When I want to use it for plasma cutting, I can just put my regular airline right on there. And that way it's convenient, and you don't have a hose dangling around when you're not using it. So I really like that. That worked out really good. Okay. All right, let's go around to the front. Okay, so this is the other change I made. The TIG torch that comes with the machine has the on-off control right on the torch. Okay. And for the most part, that works okay. But I have run into a couple of situations where, you know, you're in a tight spot and you just can't operate that switch easily. So what I found, and that's, you know, here's our hose, right? It just plugs in with this little Cannon plug on the front. I started researching if they had a foot pedal, and I found this one on on Amazon. $12. It's already got the right plug on it. I mean, it plugs in and it works perfect. So I'll put a link to that down below also. But you know, now I can either use the button on the torch or the foot pedal, and all it is on off. It's not proportional. Okay, you have to go to the next model up to get the proportional foot pedal, which probably, if you can afford it, that's what I would do. But if you got one of these and you want an option besides the button on the torch here, this thing works great. And then while we're here, I bought one of these little torch holders from Amazon. They're 10 bucks. The only negative that I have on it is the magnet is actually too strong. Okay, so I just stuck a metal plate on there, and it's got enough weight that I can just set it on the table or wherever I'm working. All right, well, anyways, there you go. That's what I've been up to. I haven't tried the other processes. So far I've only been using the machine in TIG mode. I'll probably set the MIG up with light gauge wire because obviously I've got the big boy down here for doing anything heavy. Yeah, and then I haven't decided if I want to change this power plug or not. This is a 50 amp style plug that's on there right now, and that's what the big Miller uses. And obviously I've got this monster extension cord, but normally I just keep everything plugged in over here. So I've got an extra 30 amp 230 volt twist lock over here, and I've got two of these big 50 amps and then another 30 amp over there. So I may do a little, well, I'll have to do some thinking, but I may change that one plug out. And there's the old Lincoln Tombstone. It just lives back there. I got plenty of leads coiled up. All you got to do is be able to reach back and flip the knobs to whatever setting you want. So it just stays back there. This is the box that the regulator came in, so you know what it looks like if you're looking on Amazon or elsewhere. And I've had good luck with this brand. They seem to be a little better than your typical import ones. It didn't come with any barb fittings, so I had to buy a pack of barb fittings. These are better than the ones that came on the machine, like I was saying. Hey, and if you don't have one of these little tubing cutters for plastic tubing, get one. These things are awesome. I mean, they make an extremely clean cut on your tubing. Yeah, and this stuff was, it's 1/4 inch ID, and it was $15, I think, for a 10 meter roll. Okay. All right, well, there it is, all tucked away in this little hidey hole. Okay, guys, well, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll have another video out pretty soon. Okay, thanks again, guys. See you later.